No. She was just kind of like, "我咖喱贡," and I'm like, "Ooh, okay."
No, what are you saying?
Yes, ma'am. I don't know what it means, but I knew what it meant.
Felt it.
I had the heart of gossip in my heart. Taiwanese people are really nice. That's my base level.
Yeah.
And when I interact with Taiwanese people, if they're anything less than nice, I'm a little bit like, that guy.
Not Taiwanese enough.
Yeah, no, they're not Taiwanese, right? It's always like, oh, 我要一个特大北冰美食. And then they're like, oh my God, your Mandarin is so good. Oh my God, how long have you been here? Oh my God, what are you doing here?
Yes.
And I'm a constant yapper. People can tell when I understand them.
Yes.
Because I think I have a very quiet face. I don't have a quiet face. My friends tell me like all the time.
People
like,
see like, oh, you're understanding what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you understand the
'cause I'm,
words
like,
that are coming out of my mouth.
He just goes like, 小心一点. And then he just looks at me and he goes like, 国语讲得很好. And like buzzes off. One of my favorite things is like when I arrive at Songshan Airport and then I do my little like ARC like beep beep.
Yeah.
And then it says like welcome home.
Yes.
And it's I really like that.
Hello and welcome back to FUNDAY Chat. This is our second episode with none other than Zach 左右. And so on this episode, we are going to be touching on what does it look like to live in Taiwan as a, and this is a quote. This is a quote.
White guy.
White guy.
You can say white
guy. Yes.
It's okay. Yeah.
Thank you for giving me the right. On this episode, we're going to touch more about like what does it look like to live as a tourist, quote unquote. But on the previous episode, we talked about his acting career because Zach is an actor.
Let me help you out because I hear the comment section. I hear the typing.
Okay.
Tourist is a word that I used earlier because I've lived here as a foreigner for like 6 years or something.
Sure.
And lately I've been living as a tourist.
Yes.
I am a resident, so
Okay.
I'm not a tourist, but I'm pretending to be.
Yeah.
Stolen valor.
Yes. So we just want to get back into basically the previous episode. We touched on the acting aspect. And so you've had 15 years of experience and you've come to Asia in 2011 and learned Mandarin and you're on different shows and movies and all sorts of things. So today we're just wanting to talk more about what does it look like to kind of live in Taiwan and your Asian experience. So to get us started off, what is one word that you would describe when you hear Taiwan?
我咖喱贡.
or phrase.
我咖喱贡. 我咖喱贡.
我咖喱贡. That is a good one.
I love it, man, because it's so like it hits this like southern nerve from the United States that I have of my mom being from Louisiana of like, let me tell you something. Or like, I tell you what. And it's so perfect.
It encapsulates that.
And every day when I step outside my door, whether I'm getting coffee, whether I'm going to the hot spring at the bottom of my apartment complex to hang out with the grannies. Oh yeah, he makes money. No, I'm kidding. My apartment's very cheap. I always have something that whenever I come back to my friends and family, I'm like, oh my God, I need to tell you what happened.
Yes.
And it's so much better than like, hey, 我跟你说.
Yeah.
It's more like, 我跟你说.
Yeah.
Like, 我跟你说.
Yeah. And when did you first like hear this phrase that's been used?
Oh my goodness, probably like when I first moved here, like my neighbor or like a granny said it to me, and I was like,
"Hey, 少年啊，我咖喱贡."
Yeah, no. She was just kind of like, 我咖喱贡, and I'm like, ooh, okay.
No, what are you saying?
Yes, ma'am. I don't know what it means, but I knew what it means.
You felt it.
I had the heart of gossip in my heart.
Yeah.
You know, just like right there. I'm like, ooh, it's gonna be hot.
No, that's a great phrase because that really encapsulates, I feel like, Taiwan.
Yeah.
With that, do you have any other like funny maybe language barriers? Because we did touch on the fact that you do speak Mandarin and you learned and you had to go through that journey. At first like making a joke of it, but now look at you now. You actually speak and so I'm sure there's sometimes language barriers, right, that you encounter.
So many daily basis. And it's so funny. Where my friends describe me as like a hyper polyglot, like whatever that means. I'm an absolute yapper.
Okay.
And so, but just because I do know multiple languages doesn't mean that I'm good at communication.
That is interesting. That's an interesting take.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm okay at it. Sometimes I'm not. So I was sent on a mission and I was told to purchase 马铃薯. 马铃薯, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Never heard of it. I don't know her. I don't know Ma Ling Su. She seems like a lovely person. So I go to the local day market, and this is like my first week of living here. And I was in Sanchong at the time. Oh, so dangerous, everyone says. It was very, very lovely. Yeah. And I go out into the market, and I'm like, hey, 请问一下,你有马铃薯吗? And then they're like, oh, yeah, like, of course, like, 当然啊. And they're like, okay, yeah, here. And then I see like 土豆. tudo after tudo. And I'm like, what? I may have been born at night, but it wasn't last night. I know a potato when I see a potato. And like, I know a potato is called tudo.
Yeah.
And you're showing, like, I'm asking for malingsu and you're showing me a potato. I'm American. I eat French fries. Like, come on now. And so I go to the next stall and they're doing the same thing. And then I'm just kind of having this moment of like,
wow, all the Taiwanese people.
Everyone says that Taiwanese people are so nice. Let me tell you, you go to a vegetable market and they will rob you blind.
They will give you potatoes.
I asked probably like 10, 15 people and everyone's like, he's looking for like,
the same thing.
I don't know, man. And no one like told me like tudo is just like malingsu because I guess tudo isn't super popular here. I don't know.
Different way of saying it.
Yeah. And then I get back and then my friend who sent me on this like errand to go and run get malingsu, I was just like, man, what is a malingsu? I've been trying so hard and they keep showing me like potatoes. And he's like, 你不是美国人吗？你不是天天都是吃薯条吗？那你为什么就是 And I'm like, wait, potato? You mean tudo?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Language barriers.
Rough.
We live and we learn.
I'm doing my best out here, man.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best.
Well, okay. So I'm interested, like, how did you even hear about Taiwan in the beginning?
Oh, years and years ago when I was studying Mandarin, my first teacher, Su Lao Shi, she was from Taidong.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
In Nebraska?
Well, she's not.
Where are we?
Yeah, Nebraska. We're
in Nebraska?
Yeah,
she's in Nebraska?
Yeah,
wow.
she was the first Mandarin language teacher at Nebraska Wesleyan State University, and she's a sweetheart. And then like, yeah, she's from Taidong. And
so
I was like,
that was your first introduction. So did you know much about Taiwan or?
No.
No?
No.
And so how did you end up here then?
How did I end up here? Oh, a friend of mine, she won Samantha Wessels, she won a Fulbright scholarship to come here and teach English. Oh, wait, no, I applied to come and teach English through the Fulbright program, and then I got waitlisted, which is still an absolute honor. But then she ended up getting it the following year, and she is from Weeping Water, Nebraska, which I see you being like, Weeping Water, Zach, isn't that right next to Nahaka, Nebraska?
Right.
And it is, Wade.
Yeah.
They're right next to each other.
I know my Nebraskan territory.
Yeah. And and the first time that her and I met each other, well, like we were in university, but we actually met each other in Beijing.
Wow.
And then I'm like, wait, you're from Weeping Water? And she's like, yeah, you're from Nahaka. And all the people at home,
They're like, yes, exactly.
They know how coincidental that is.
缘分.
It's like 5 kilometers apart of each other.
Wow.
Yeah. And then,
okay.
And then she was out here in
now it makes sense.
Yeah. So she got, she's teaching out in Hualien. And I, had a little break and I wanted to come visit. And I came and saw my friend from Weeping Water, Nebraska, all the way in Hualien.
And now you've been here for the past
6 years.
6 years.
2019, it's 2025.
Yeah, that's good math. You said you're terrible at math, but that was pretty good.
I've been lying. I got Duolingo math on my phone.
Nice.
Yeah. As long as I have enough fingers and toes.
I didn't know they have the math app yet.
Yeah, they're doing okay.
Well, tell us about your fondest memory then that you've had since you've been in Taiwan.
There's so many, but I have to tell you. So about a month ago. I have so many memories, but I have to tell you, so about a month ago, I was doing a travel show called Wheel Around the World with Shane on YouTube. I recommend you check it out. It's really good.
Yeah.
And I was a guest on his show, and he took me all around Taiwan, and we were at the Grand Hotel in Kaohsiung.
Okay.
And they had all of these like qipao and like qigongs like kind of like laid out. And he says to me, he's like, oh man, I want to rent one of those.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, great, man. We can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, but they're not going to let me rent it. Like, what do you mean they're not going to let you rent it? And he's like, well, yeah. And I was like, well, maybe someone's like not working the desk, but we can like call ahead. Like, it's not a big deal. He's like, no, Zach, they're not going to let us rent it. And like, he's a man who can accomplish anything. Like, he's a licensed pilot. He does horse dressage. He successfully runs like six businesses, right? Like, he's a deeply impressive man, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, they're not going to let us rent it. And there he has this like, there's a sense of like sadness to it. And I'm like, ooh, okay. Like, this is a side I haven't seen before. Like,
sure.
I'll poke a little bit, but I don't want to dig too deep. And he says that he's been to other places that have like really elegant clothing or really traditional clothing. And he's been told that he can't wear this because he's a man and this is traditionally women's clothing. Right. And so my immediate reaction is like, oh yeah, but like we're in Taiwan, man. Like, it's fine. And then he's just like, no, you say it's fine, but it's not going to happen. And I'm like, it is going to happen. Okay. And then I have this like moment of like, dude, like we're in Taiwan, man. Like the last year's winner of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars was Nymphia Wen, and she's from Taiwan, right? And she ended up performing for Tsai Ing-wen along with like 5 or 6 other local drag queens, and very famously quoted by saying like, "This is the first time that this office has been so colorful." Sorry, that's not a good Tsai Ing-wen impersonation. I recognize my Tsai Ing-wen is always like a mix of JFK and Maya Angelou.
Okay.
I don't know if that's good or not, but anyway.
They get it.
Mad respect, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm sitting there like, yeah, it's going to be fine. Okay, whatever. You know, like, let him see. It'll be okay. So then the following day, we go and rent, and the woman behind the counter, I ask her in Mandarin, like, "Oh, hey, we would like to rent this, like, this qi pao. I want a qigong because I look better in a qigong. Okay. But we want a qi pao." And then she kind of says like, "Oh, okay, let me check." And then she says something to me, and then he looks at me, and he's just kind of like,
"Told you so."
See,
yeah,
I told you. And I looked at him. I'm like, "Oh no, you just don't speak Mandarin. Like, it's fine for you to rent it, but she thinks that we don't have a qi pao in your size." And then he goes like, "Did she call me fat?" And then fast forward.
Another offense.
Yeah. So then fast forward, he's trying on the cheap house. He picks this like really pretty pink thing. And then like, she's like offering like different like color stuff. And every time she's saying no, she's like, "Oh no, this is better for your skin tone." And then I'm trying on my qigong and I'm looking very like, you know, fancy and very regal. And then all of a sudden, an auntie comes over and she's like 60 or 70. And she comes over with her mom, who's probably like 80 or so. And like, we're just like having fun and playing dress up. And he's putting on like the fascinator with like the big, like the big, broochy queenie thing, like the princess thing, and then like the big tassels, like Empress Dowager sort of vibes, pearl earrings, and then they start like they're dressing up, and it's like this like tiny little kiosk that maybe like people rent like once a month from.
Right, exactly.
And then he comes out and he's just like pretty as a picture, just gorgeous. It fits him so well. And then Ama and Ai, they're just kind of like, "Wow, 漂亮!" And then we're like comparing stuff, and then they're getting dressed up, and then he's like, "Oh, like 你也是很漂亮." And then more and more like older people that came over, and they're putting on like this like clothing, and I have a moment where I'm stepping back and I'm realizing like, because he's really getting affected by this. And I'm having this moment where I'm like, I know, like in my head, because I've lived here for 6 years, Taiwanese people are really nice. That's like that's my base level. And when I interact with Taiwanese people, if they're anything less than nice, I'm a little bit like, that guy.
Not Taiwanese enough.
Yeah, no, they're not Taiwanese, right? And so much that I become like quite nice, right? And then like in this moment, I'm like, yeah, of course, like people are going to behave like this. But then I'm realizing like through his eyes, like how incredibly special this is. And then here I am, and there's like all of these like older people who are coming over and they're trying on dresses, and there's this huge sense of play. And then, you know, the travel show that we're doing is running late because so many people want to take photos and they want to like record video. And then at one point he's like tearing up, and then I'm like, like this is special, and I felt incredibly proud to call this place home. And then like Auntie says to me, because I'm like, "Oh my God, like thank you, this is really special for my friend." And she's like, "Why? Like he's cute." And I'm like, "Yes, he is adorable, but like he's saying like he's been shamed for a lot of this." And she's like, "Oh, 在台湾就好看就可以了，不要想太多了." And then she starts thanking me, and she's tearing up because it's the first time that her mother has ever been able to have a conversation with a foreigner, especially in Mandarin. And then we record this like great video of like, I'm pretending to be the boss outside of some like vintage shop, and I have like the little pipe and the glasses. And then I was also able to educate my Australian friends on how to properly wear a qi pao, like what's a qigong. And
Wow. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
It was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
Cool. Today, as we're talking about this like tourist, quote unquote, we've talked. And so you've mentioned that like in the past few months, that's sort of been your approach. You've been here for 6 years, but your approach has been sort of like, hey, I'm going to live as a tourist. So maybe you can explain to the audience, what does that first mean? And then how has that actually been? Has it been different for you?
Well, I mean, so I've lived here for like 6 years, and I don't know what exactly I was waiting for, but in the end, I ended up getting it from this travel show called Wheel Around the World with Shane, where a friend of mine that I've known for a very long time, 6 years, like basically hits me up and he's like, "Hey, let me take you around this island that you live on." Like he came here like 11 years ago, drove a car, did like a ton of like really cool things, and he wanted to show me that. And in my mind, I'm kind of like, oh, well, I need to show him, like, you know, like I think that I'm going to be the tour guide. No one asked me to do that. But I have this very, like, you know.
Yeah, this is my role.
Very Asian sort of mentality. If you're coming to my city, like, let me treat you.
I will take care of you.
I know the right restaurants and all that stuff. No one asked for it. I just, you know, stepped up and did that and, you know, watch the show and figure out how that goes. So I sort of like saw this island, went to places that I've never been before here, and I was able to be a tourist in my own backyard. And then I also realized like just how slow my day-to-day life here is beforehand, because I was getting hung up on like just like stuff I didn't need to get hung up on.
Such as?
Ordering coffee was a big one. Because,
why?
Well, I came here speaking Mandarin, right?
Yes.
And so my day-to-day interactions are completely in Mandarin, to the point that I have friends who have lived here for 8 to 10 to 15 years who don't speak Mandarin. And I'm like, are you okay? Is everything fine?
Yeah.
And in theory, because I have a lot of Taiwanese friends who speak great English, but I rarely hear them speak English because we speak Chinese.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Or because we speak Mandarin, right?
Sure.
And then I would go up and order a coffee, and then every interaction, except for my daily like 7-Eleven run, is probably about 15, 20 minutes.
That long?
Yeah. Because it's always like, oh, you know, 我要一个特大北冰美式. And then they're like, oh my God, your Mandarin is so good. Oh my God, how long have you been here? Oh my God, what are you doing here? Yes. And I'm a constant yapper.
Yeah.
And also apparently very susceptible to flattery. And so I'll like feed into that, and we go back and forth, and we have to, oh, 你的国语讲得很好啊. Oh, 没有你的国语好啊. You know, like that sort of thing. And then before I know it, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But then when I go and I just order in English like him, it's like less than 30 seconds. It's like, I want a big iced coffee.
Oh, they're like, iced coffee. Okay.
Yeah, perfect, done. And then I'm out the door and I'm like, I have 20 more minutes.
Wow. Interesting.
And 6 years of my life, never ordered coffee in English. Now it's almost all I order coffee in.
Yeah. You know what? That's such an interesting perspective shift, because for me, being mixed, like also communicating in both languages, I've never considered the fact of switching and becoming a foreigner for specific things. Now, granted, I have used the foreigner privilege, let's say, like if I'm like driving and maybe a police stops me and I'm like, hello?
Sorry.
And then, oh, sorry, no passing. And they're like, oh, okay, just get out of here. You know, like,
well, there's also this thing of like, I'm sure that you have this because you know you speak Mandarin very, very well, of like, people can tell when I understand them.
Yes.
Because I think I have a very quiet face.
Yeah.
I don't have a quiet face. My friends tell me like all the time.
People
like,
see like, oh, you're understanding what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you understand the
'cause I'm,
words
like,
that are coming out of my mouth.
Yeah, I'm making eye contact. I'm like, oh, okay. And then so they'll approach me in Mandarin all the time.
Yes.
But, and then there's also this like very like I guess like Asian side of me where I really don't want to like inconvenience other people, right?
Yeah, very
and
Asian.
I feel it's like really rude to like speak English when I know that I'm okay with doing Mandarin.
Exactly,
and I don't
that's
want
the
to impose.
approach. That's the same.
And I'm just like, I don't want to be rude. And then my friends are like, well, what if you are rude? And also they won't know if you're being rude because they don't expect that you're going to speak Mandarin.
Yes.
But I do love it when people get so excited that I speak Mandarin and interact with them. But that's also a little self-serving.
Yeah.
And so I've learned that like if I go and do something in a government office, right? Like right now, I'll go in and I'll pull up my Google phone and someone will be like, or I'll pull up like Google Translate and someone will be like, oh, like, sir, can I help you? I'm like, hold on 1 second. And then I say like, this is what I need to get done today. And I have it like in English, translated immediately. And I go like, hi, can you please help? And then they see it.
Yeah.
And in my heart, I'm like, this is rude. I could do this in English.
Yeah.
But the actual outcome is we save so much more time.
Yes.
Because they work there. They know
exactly what needs
to get done. And we don't get in a constant politeness feedback loop.
Yeah.
Because the politeness feedback loop is what happens is they know 800 million things that can get accomplished because it's very convenient here. And so they want to give me a comprehensive list of all the things that they can help me with. But in reality, I don't need that. What I actually need is this.
Yeah.
And so if we cut out like that middleman of them trying to be so polite and so helpful, and then I don't have a panic attack of like, there's 800 million options.
Yeah, what do I need?
Well, I didn't even think about opening up a bank card and getting 5% interest. And I'm like, but I just need bubble tea.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, that makes sense. So I think like even many other people and guests I've spoke with, I think they always kind of, especially coming from a Western perspective, they always sort of like hint at, you know, we wish maybe Taiwanese people can be a little bit more direct in what they want or what they're searching for, or because the politeness is great and like there's the 面子 aspect and all of that, but sometimes when it comes to certain regards, like you're saying, when it comes to maybe logistic things, you kind of just want this to get done. And so do you feel the same, or do you
I can't
approach?
speak for other folks on this, because the problem lies on me in this situation.
Okay.
Where I'm trying to get one thing done and I think that I need this, but in reality, I don't actually know what I need. And so then suddenly when I get distracted by 8 other things of like, oh, it could be this, it could be that, like I end up like kind of spiraling in a weird way.
Right.
Like I always have fun and it's always a great time. And so what's working for me in this situation is going in and saying, this is specifically what I need to get done, and then trust them and it works out. And then at the end of it, I'm actually thinking of doing business cards with this. I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I always tell them at the end, I'm like, hey, I just have to tell you, 不好意思，我是要跟你讲，你讲英文太棒了。And then they're like, oh my God, you speak Chinese. And then they're like, why were you making me do English?
Then you're there for another 30 minutes.
And I'm like, 我就是跟你说, like, I know that your English is better than my Mandarin, and you were doing so well, and you really, like, just keep going. Like, you nailed that. And also, like, I had a friend, and he, like, accomplished so much, and it's just easier if I just shut up and trust people. But that's for me.
Yes.
Because, like, the directness, I don't know if someone's too direct, I might cry. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Okay. I mean, everyone has a different approach.
Yeah.
Well, so you mentioned that you felt that Taiwan wasn't as convenient till recently. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I guess and again, this is on me, right? Because I go on WTO, and I've been doing that show for like 5 years, and I'm constantly talking about like how convenient Taiwan is and how like nice everybody is. And I genuinely felt that, and I really knew, but like, I've been living 35 years of my life, or 30 years of my life when I started filming that show. And I'm like, I know what works for me.
Okay.
And so when I'm like trying to, and I also came at a weird time. I came like when COVID was happening and like, wasn't filming as much as I'm used to. And so like, it's just kind of like a weird time, right? And then I would hear people say like, oh, it's so convenient, so convenient. And I'm like, it is. It's incredibly convenient. But what I thought was like the max capacity is actually like a level 5.
Yeah.
And now like my friend bought a used car and gave it to me because it was cheaper than renting through Avis. And I got that thing licensed within like 6 hours.
Wow.
And I handed everything to everybody else. And then at one point he says like, oh, like I hope, like how we just gave him a bunch of money, like how are we going to ensure that we get that back? And I'm like, oh, he's going to come back. And he's like, how do you know? And I said, oh, well, I have his business card. And he says, okay, well, but like, what if he doesn't come back? And I said, well, he better come back because he has my ARC and my health insurance and a whole bunch of my information. And then the 3 Australians I'm with are like, you gave him that? I'm like, yeah,
why wouldn't you?
Taiwan. Like, what do you know? But yeah, it's just like
discovering how efficient things can be,
how convenient everything is. Also, like how helpful people are, but like what gets in the way again is like I talk too much. I'm susceptible to compliments. Taiwanese people love giving compliments. They also love chatting with a foreigner who can speak Mandarin.
Loop.
And then I get too many options.
Then your day is filled up.
Yeah, and then I have a panic attack and need to go home,
Well, so tell me, do you ever feel like there was a time where you felt like you truly belonged? Like is there a particular memory or something that someone said to you that you felt like, hey, I'm not that white guy anymore, like they seeing me as being a part of the culture?
Yeah, quite a lot actually. It happens in really mundane ways, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
Like the biggest moments are like when somebody randomly asks if I can like watch their laptop or like watch their kid. It's also moments where I kind of see like Americans being very American or other like white guys being very white guys, and then I just kind of give like a oh brother to like a random like Taiwanese person next to me, and they're kind of like
and they're like, we got you.
They're like, yeah, we all know. Or I had a great moment the other day where I'm driving, and then this person to the right of me like did something kind of stupid and unsafe, which made me accidentally do something stupid and unsafe. I've been driving since I was 14. I'm kind of a great driver. My Taiwanese friends are like, okay, yeah, you're a great driver. I drive like a Taiwanese man.
Okay.
Or a Taiwanese person. Be like water, baby.
Yeah.
So anyway, person over here does something stupid and unsafe, makes me do something stupid and unsafe, and then there's a guy on a scooter like right next to me.
Yeah.
And I look over and he's like right here, my window's down because I prefer the window. And he just like looks at me and like so loudly, he's yelling, he's like, do you don't know how to drive. And I'm just like, huh.
In English?
No. Like,
in Chinese.
Like so loudly.
Okay,
and I'm like, huh. And I like look over and I look at him. I'm like, huh. And then he was like, 你没发现? Like you didn't know that I was here, right? Yeah. I'm like, oh, 我没有，因为他. Like, and then I like look over. I'm like,不好意思，我慢慢拍才. And he's like, oh. And he kind of looks at me. It was just like, oh, 你没发现? I yelled at, no, 没有好事. He just goes like, oh, 小心一点. And then he just looks at me and he goes like, oh, 国语讲得很好. And like buzzes off. And it's like such a moment where like, like in other moments people are just like, oh, 拍谁, oh, 不好意思. But in that moment, I'm just a dude getting yelled at in traffic because I cut someone off on accident. And it was unsafe. Like yeah. And then it ended with like, manners,
but respect.
Boom.
Yeah. Well, so hearing all of this, what do you think really is a part of you now when it comes to like the culture aspect? Do you feel like what sort of Asian, let's say, tendencies or mindset has kind of like influenced you to be who you are? Because again, what we mentioned in the previous episode, you're coming from Nebraska, a very tiny place. And I think it's such a drastic, if I think about my own life too, coming from small town to live in the possibility and the realm of what Asia provides. Like, what has that done for you in your life now?
Wait, thank you so much. This is just a wonderful question. No, because you asked me this like last night and you said like, hey, like we're probably going to talk about this. And like, even this morning, a friend of mine, she reached out to me and I kind of had like a very interesting like spiral, not like a bad spiral, but a great spiral, because I've been asked this a lot. And it's, I think at our best, Americans are a melting pot and we're a mixing pot and we love our neighbors. Right. I think at our worst, we become very xenophobic and very hateful and people can get hurt a lot. Yeah. I am from the middle, I always say I'm from the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, but until I was about 14 years old, I moved to a suburb on the outside of Omaha called Bellevue. Okay. And it has one of the largest Air Force bases, Offutt Air Force Base. And it's also an area that has always had like new migration, new immigrants, booming business. Council Bluffs, Omaha area is a point where like the Midway, Lincoln gave like a speech there talking about the Transcontinental Railroad. Okay. So we have like, it's a large hub of new migration and it's also currently a refugee area. Wow. So there's like, it's quite diverse. And so like for Nebraska, or just for the Midwest, it's just in general, it's a really cool spot. And so like when I went to high school, we have a very large Japanese population, a very large Korean population, a very, very large Filipino population. Okay. So my high school is about like 500 kids. And I think probably 1/4 is like Filipino, lot, if not more. Yeah. Just Filipino.
Yeah. Wow.
And we also have like Latin American and then black people and like, just from all corners of the world, right? Yeah. So there are things that I grew up with being 14 years old that were fundamentally like really quite Asian, but to me, I didn't realize, right? Because it's just like what my aunt does, what my neighbors do. Like when I cook rice, I learned that you put the water in, you clean it, and then you put your finger in, and if it hits the line, just very Filipino. And I'm like, I didn't realize that was Filipino because that's what like Miss Lindell did. The banana bread recipe that I brought into today that I haven't heard enough thank yous on.
Yes, we haven't tried it yet, so we haven't.
Well, you have at WTO. It's Miss Lindell's famous banana bread recipe.
Wow. Yeah. No, we do appreciate that. And if you want some, I guess.
Shout out Miss Lindell.
Call out to you and you will.
Zach, hi Wade, my name is Zach Ireland Orzoyo. Don't bother Miss Lindell, she's busy. Or Tina Lindell, who does some really great stuff up in New York.
As we shared about, coming in from, again, small town, being here in Asia, and just overall having all these very, very diverse experience, it's obviously made you who you are now, right? But one thing I'm always very curious about is for people that have migrated to somewhere that they didn't originally grow up from and their upbringing, how do you define home?
How do I define home? It's that Magnetic Fields song, like, go home, home is whenever I'm with you. Home for me is like a massive like feeling. It's, do I feel comfortable? Do I feel safe? Am I going to have a very relaxing like sleep? Usually if I'm like tired. Usually I feel home like when I'm super tired and then I'm getting to a place I'm really relaxed. My first time arriving in Cairo, I felt like I was home immediately.
Really?
There was this weird feeling of like, because I'm with my buddy who I've known for like, 12 years. And I'm going to stay at his childhood home that he grew up in. And we're like buzzing around all the streets. And like, it looks so familiar, but I kept comparing it to grandma's house. Where like, it's very similar to like how I grew up in a way.
Yeah.
But then with grandma's house, you only go like once a summer.
Yeah,
so sometimes like you have to jiggle the handle a little bit differently, or you have to press a different light switch. And I felt so at home.
Interesting.
It's like, home for me is when you leave the airport and you're on your way to the next destination and you know that good rest is coming soon.
Never heard that definition before, but that's pretty good.
I didn't know it until I started saying it. I really feel that though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you found home here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things is like when I arrive at Songshan Airport and then I do my little like ARC, like beep, beep.
Yeah.
And then it says like, welcome home.
Yes.
And it's, I really like that. I feel home in a lot of places. I feel home in Louisiana. I feel home in Nebraska. I feel home here in Cairo.
Yeah.
Beijing. I feel home in Beijing. And I'm excited to see where else is home for me.
Okay, so thank you for, sharing all of that insights when it comes to, first of all, the acting aspect, and then even what it looks like to kind of be local, but also a tourist.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's always a fine balance to kind of strike. And Taiwan has so much to offer that I genuinely appreciate, being a part of it and having experienced multiple cultures. Like you really get to, I could just like really appreciate what you have. And so
also like I did want to mention, if it's okay with you, I also do realize that being able to slip in between being a tourist and being a local is a massive privilege on both sides. Because I do speak the language at a level that's like, fine enough. And like my neighbors know me and stuff like that. So I do get that set of certain privileges. And then also because of how the body that I walk in and walk around the world with, I am able to be a tourist here, where a lot of my like Asian American friends or like mixed friends can't do, right? Yeah. And I imagine that that's like really hard thing, man.
Yeah.
Because you're not quite
certain expectations.
Yeah, you're not always Taiwanese enough to be Taiwanese. You're not foreign enough to be foreigner. And then you have like this massive like
identity crisis.
Yeah. And then you have a bunch of, white dudes come onto your podcast and be like, let me tell you what it's like to be in Asia and how great it is.
Yeah.
But I would like to take you around and show you how to be a tourist.
Yeah.
If you're willing, I have a car.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. We'll be tourists together.
Yeah. There's a cool seashell temple I want to check out.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much again. We do appreciate you coming on and sharing your insights. And we did make a plug the last episode, but I don't know if you want to just maybe share some other things again.
Yes,
people can
absolutely.
Find you.
So when you get the chance, go ahead and check out Red Envelope. It is going to the International Queer Migrant Film Festival in Amsterdam. Please check out Wheel Around the World with Shane when that comes out. Available on his YouTube. You can go ahead and check out his YouTube channel now, Shane Horick at Wheel Around the World with Shane. There is over 40 hours of footage that we shot doing a travel show all over Taiwan, and there's like moments that are slapstick comedy, and there's moments that are like genuine, actual like tearjerkers. And it's also something that I'm incredibly proud of it, because you'll see a lot of moments in which I really, really mess up and I do things incredibly wrong. And like, there's moments where I accidentally hurt my friend even. But, through that and through open communication and trust between the both of us, I learned a big lesson, but it's not about me. The audience gets to learn a lesson as well of how to better listen to your friends.
Yeah. All right. Well, great. Thank you so much for coming on, and hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you haven't seen the last episode where Zach talks about his acting career, please check that out. And so we'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
See you, dudes.